Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Samir here, and today we are going to understand what is the fastest way of looping the list, right? So let's dive into it and understand. What if I tell you that your list has a secret turbo mode, right? A way of accessing the data in list without memory allocation, without copying, and with insane performance. Yes, with insane performance. Today we are going to uncover one of the .NET's most powerful way of looping through the list and accessing the data from the list, which is called CollectionsMarshal.AsSpan. What problem does it solve? Okay, let's first check it out. Normally, when you work with a list, you access element one by one, or you copy data into array, or you pay performance cost if there is a large collection of lists and you don't even notice until the software goes on production. But high performance systems like game engines, serializers, real-time apps need raw and direct access to memory. That's where the collection marshal comes into picture. So, what is collection marshal? CollectionMarshal.AsSpan lets you access the internal array of the list. Okay, internal array of the list, and I will show you with the IL code, and we will check how deeply it accesses the internal array. So what is the benefit of it? Okay, no copying, no allocation, just accessing the internal array directly through the memory, right? So let's dive deep into the coding part of it and we'll understand, and I will show you how for each loop is slow, and when you do collection marshal.aspan and you loop through the list, okay, then how the performance increases. All right. So this is nothing but a normal .NET 9.0 Core console application. Okay, you can use any .NET Core framework. No need. Okay, this is just a simple console application. So what are we going to cover? The first thing which we are going to cover is we'll create a customer class. Okay, then we'll loop and add customer class into the list, okay, and make it large, like hundreds and thousands of records. Then we'll loop through the list using for each, the normal way which we use in our project. And then we will loop through the list using collection marshal.aspan to check the performance difference, right? So first come first, create a customer class. So let's create a customer class, simple. Say customer ID, customer name, customer address. Fine. So now we have created a customer class. Now let's loop through the customer class and create a list. So for yeah, so make it 1 lakh. Okay. So first we need to declare the list. Customer class customers is equal to new list. Customer class customer object is equal to new customer class. customer object dot customer ID is equal to, I am putting it I loop, right, dot customer name is equal to customer customer address, customer address, and I loop, so it can distinguish. Okay, and then we add customers dot add customer, sorry, customer object. Okay, so what we are doing, we are creating a loop of 1 lakh. Okay, we are adding the customer object into the customer list, and we are creating a list. This is the second part. Now looping through the list. Okay, so create over here console dot write line for each loop starts. Okay, now I'm not using .NET benchmark plugin over here. We will keep it simple. So there is a plugin over here. We can use .NET benchmark. Sorry, benchmark.net. Benchmark.net. This is a plugin which helps for diagnosing the performance of a particular method in .NET or many more things. But I'm not using this. Okay, let's keep it simple. Okay. I'm using time strength start is equal to datetime dot dot time of day. Okay, let's first put for each loop customers cust. Okay, now over here in the for each loop you can do many things, like you can do calculations if you want, you can call a database, you can do many more things, but I am keeping it very simple. The purpose of this video is to check the performance of the for loop. So we are just keeping it very simple. We are not putting anything over here. Otherwise, you can have DB database calls, put some business logic over here, but I'm not doing anything. Okay, so we just shift this. So here it is start. I don't want any formatting. Here it is ends. So again over here and difference, that is and minus start. Okay, let's check it out, the for each loop. So I've run the console application and it's running. Okay, so you see over here, this is hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds. Okay, the loop started, the loop ended, and the difference is, you can say, if I take 1000 milliseconds is equal to 1 millisecond, is equal to 1 second, then it is 444 milliseconds. Fine. So this is an ideal time for the for each loop to loop through 1 lakh customer class records. Okay. Now we will use collection marshal. So again, I will just this over here. Span customer class. Customer span is equal to collections, which comes under system.runtime.interop service dot AsSpan customers. So customers is our list. So it will give you what it returns. It returns a span T generics. Okay. Now for each customer span. Okay. And you can put any database calls over here, but I'm not doing anything. So now let's again do a start. Time span is equal to datetime dot now. Collections Marshall loop starts. Okay, we copy, we end the loop. Collection Marshall loop ends and we do the difference. Okay. So not what you have done over here, 1 lakh records, you have created a list of object. We are looping through for each, which is our ideal scenario where we use for each in all our projects. And here what you have done, we have used collection marshal.AsSpan list. So it has given me a span of T. I'm looping through the span of T. Okay, that is span of customer. And then we are checking the start and the end of it, and we'll check the performance. Okay, let's go. All right. So if you see over here, this is for each loop, hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds. Again, hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds. The difference over here is 307 milliseconds to loop through 1 lakh customer object records. This is the normal for each loop. This is our collection marshal loop, which starts this hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds. Again, milliseconds. And if you see over here, this is a bare minimum amount of time it took to loop through 1 lakh customer records. This is like super performance. Super. Fine. Now let's just increase the count. We make it 10 lakhs, that is 1 million. Okay. Now let's check what is the performance. Okay. We start the project. Now it will loop through 10 lakh records, that is 1 million records, and here we are over here. The time it took to loop is 372 milliseconds in the for each versus just 58 milliseconds using CollectionMarshal. So you can see over here the difference, the insane performance it gives, and you can use practically this in your production project. Trust me, I am using this CollectionMarshal in my live production project, and it has given me immense performance. Again, to check the performance more, we just add one more zero over here. So now we will have 10 million records. So 10 million customer class. The list collection will be large. And let's check now what is the performance. Okay. I started the project. Oh, now it will take a little bit of time. Okay. Okay, so the difference over here, start and end for each loop is exactly like 1000 milliseconds. And over here for the CollectionMarshal, it is 447 milliseconds. So it is more than the half time the CollectionMarshal got looped through the list, and it's better than the for each, right? So this is the best way and the insane way of looping through the list, and it is like mind blowing, right? So now, as I told you, that we'll check the IL code and we'll do much more things. But before that, there is something, there are some points which you need to take into consideration while using the CollectionMarshal loop, and you should be very careful about those points. Otherwise, you will get an uh, you will get an error, or it will behave very weirdly. So what are those points which you need to take care when you are using in the CollectionMarshal in your project? I'll just show you. Okay. Warning. This is dangerous. Okay. You must never modify the list structure while using the span. Okay. So if you want to add any customer class in your list, or if you want to delete anything, then you should add or delete before using the span. Once you have created the span, then please don't add or delete anything or change anything over there. So let's check it out. See, what you should not do is like, suppose this is span T, suppose this number is your collection, is your list collection. You use CollectionMarshal.AsSpan, you use the numbers, and you created a span of int. Now you should not add anything after this numbers.add. This will this will just blast, and it will give you an undefined behavior. So this is one point you should always remember. You should never modify the list structure while using the span, right? So let's get back to the code, and as I told you that I will show you something regarding the IL. Let's check it out. Okay. So this is nothing but the IL code. So what is IL code? IL code is nothing but internally .NET runs machine code, that is the IL code, intermediate language code. Okay, and this is that intermediate language code for the whole project. Okay, now this is something which I mean, ideally it is readable, but we don't understand this. Okay, so let's copy this code. Okay, and we'll ask AI. Okay, we'll ask AI what to do. Okay, what is all about. So let's go over here. Yeah, we have ChatGPT, and this is the best way of leveraging AI to understand the concepts and to make your concepts clear. Okay, so we'll ask over here, please explain me this IL code generated by .NET Core. Okay, and I paste the whole IL code over here. Bang, enter. Let's see what it gives. Okay, whoa. If you see over here, this whole IL code is again back converted into the high level C# code. This is exactly our console application code. This is amazing. Okay, so let's now go exactly into the for each loop. Yes, this is so this is a very good point to understand. Whenever you use for each loop in your project, what internally .NET does is, this is the thing. What internally it does, first of all, it creates an enumerator, then it loops through the enumerator using move next method, then it uses current method to get the latest current index of the customer class. Okay, so enumerator is a structure, it loops, still has bound checks, still has version checks, still has dispose call. Okay, and now this is CollectionMarshal.AsSpan. What it does over here, okay, I was looking for this performance implication. So for each loop and collection marshal loop. So if you see over here, collection marshal loop is faster, zero emulator, zero allocation, okay, unsafe if misused. Yeah, that's what I told, the dangerous part of it. But this is a more faster way of looping through the list in your critical projects, your performance projects, and if you use correctly. And this is slightly a slower way due to enumerator, current method calls, and version checks and all those things. Fine. So this is how the for each loop works internally, and this is how the collection marshal.AsSpan works internally. Okay, so now let's check what is the takeaway. Okay, the final takeaway. If you use CollectionMarshal.AsSpan, then it is extremely powerful, extremely fast, but extremely dangerous if you misuse, right? So guys, if you really think that you have learned something today, then please subscribe the channel, like the video, and please write below in your comment that whether you have used CollectionMarshal.AsSpan in your production project. Say yes or no in the comment section. Thank you very much.